one of the most awaited matches of all time. Obviously, 2021, Nadal lost, and people were saying so many things. Finally, Djokovic has done this, done that, and there is no way that Nadal is going to be as strong, and he has so many injuries, etc., etc., etc. And obviously, there is this growing rhetoric about Djokovic being the best, and then you have these counter arguments about Nadal being the best, and then people sneak in Federer's argument also. I am a huge Federer fan, so know that right off the bat so that you can watch the video knowing that there could be some sort of bias. But I enjoy their game, and I never expected Nadal to win in this way, and the way that he won the semi-final, it's amazing. And I remember watching one interview or a quote, Novak's coach, I think after Peter or something, what is his name? I forgot. I think he's also a very famous tennis player. But he made a very big comment that post the match, the coach of Novak Djokovic, he said something to the lines of that Novak was not focused on winning. Novak did not have that mental momentum. He did not show positive body language and attitude. This is what he said, and this is what he attributed the loss to. But nothing taking away from Nadal. Nadal was a beast. And the way he attacks every ball, like if passion was a person, it would be Nadal, for sure. Let's start. Can't wait. Highlights by Emirates. Shot. What a beautiful read by Nadal, right? He stood there and he saw him going cross court and he slid so perfectly. Nadal's technique on... They should just install his statue in the center court. That's it. Beautiful. Look at the bounce and the spin of the ball. Like Novak is literally playing from here in the backhand. How do you even beat Nadal on clay court? And yet Djokovic has done that so many times. What an angle! Beautiful. Right down the line. 6-2. What an angle. beautiful angle. That backhand of Djokovic's, that's a blessing from the heavens. Shot. Overhead on the line. Shot. You see how he waited? Went inside out, moved the racket, and Djokovic waited till that time and then started running. And then he went inside out. Superb technique.
Le troisième manche, Nadal.
See that? He got it right. He read it right, but the return, yeah, I mean, there was no time, obviously. He was trying to lift it over his head. Shot. Overhand, backhand.
Nadal.
Look at that punch in the shot. The ball literally stopped there. Literally stopped. Novak is such a difficult opponent. These two players, I mean, deservedly 21-22 Grand Slams.
Nadal.
What a shot! Here it was and he plummeled it. Superb. The only disappointment here is that this was quarterfinals match, not a grand finale as it deserved to be. Yeah. Can't imagine tennis without Nadal. Even though we have Alcaraz, Nadal is just another level of tennis. Entertaining, probably one of the best the game will ever see. Yeah, I mean, see, these guys are the upcoming guys, or all these guys are great. They, they will be close to one of the three greats, but I mean, to be like them is. I had little expectations on Nadal this year in RG, but here he is winning his 14th French Open. Sampras had 14 Grand Slams, 14, and Nadal has won 14 French Open at 36 years old and beating Djokovic in quarterfinals in one of the best matches ever. True legend. Yeah, true. He's actually better now than ever. Some of the shots he made here in these highlights he couldn't have made years ago. One of the true greats and my personal favorite of all time. Yeah, great role model. I thought Nadal looked dumb 6 or 7 years ago. It feels like he's only still here, though sheer force of. It feels like he's only here through sheer force of will. What a dog. One of my favorite athletes ever. It's incredible how many times we have seen Nadal dig out of difficult moments in a match. Results he's produced in his stellar career proves how the game is as much about temperament and mental toughness as it's about on-court skills. I don't think you can separate the two. They go hand in hand. Being in Australia, we're not able to watch live. Knowing how well Djokovic was playing in previous matches, Nadal being hampered by injuries, I was quite certain Nadal will face a huge challenge. Next morning, I avoided checking any sports news or friends' messages. True fan. This person is a true fan. However, I was also secretly hoping for a miracle. At the end of the day, I finally found the courage to look at general sports stats to indirectly infer the score. That's when Google happened to return the big news. I was speechless, felt beyond belief. Nadal is truly amazing to pull this off. I was over the moon to see him go on to claim 14th crown here. Deeply satisfying. Truly, and true fan, someone like me. The only disappointment here is that this was quarterfinals match, not a grand finale. Yeah. Game Nadal gives me goosebumps every time, and still after all those years he played. If you look at how Djokovic plays, that is really high level of tennis. Yeah, how can he play any better? And still Rafa just picks him apart somehow. Game strategy, I would say. On moments when Novak starts to dominate, Rafa just rises the level of his play for one more notch and just grinds on. 112-3 record is amazing, unreal. Yeah, that's his record in French Open. 2 times beaten by Novak and once by what guy? Soderling, right? Robin Soderling in 2009 when Federer won. Like now, Nadal has given Federer and Djokovic no chance of winning French Open. That's how dominant he is. I think the debate of GOAT, I can say Federer, I can say Nadal, I can say Djokovic, and I can come up with stats, I can come up with personalities, crowds, etc. I can come up with all their achievements, Grand Slams, etc. I can say anything, and there will always be a debate that Federer is better, no, Nadal is better, Djokovic is better. But I think everybody can for sure say that the best clay courter of all time is Nadal. 112-3 for 15 years, 17 years. Insane day of tennis on the men's side. This is how it should be. Nadal is unreal. Nadal has always had speed, aggression, great topspin, but his anticipation and variety of shots has become better and better. He showed this brilliantly at AO this year. 22 Grand Slams will be surpassed one day, probably by Djokovic or some other future unknown player. 14 Roland Garros titles and counting is something I believe will never be surpassed in my lifetime. I'm 40. To stay that dominant, that consistent, that relatively healthy for that amount of time is simply astonishing. Nadal's game on clay when healthy is the closest thing to unbeatable perfection the sport of tennis has ever seen. 36 years old with a numb foot, no preparation, beating 4 top 10 players to win the title. Words no longer does Rafa justice. Beautifully written, and the conclusion to my video. I just love, as I said, I've always been a huge Federer fan. I started watching because of him. Even now Federer is not there, I'm very less interested, but as the time has gone by, I started liking Nadal a little more, Djokovic a little more, and these matches are just a thing of beauty. It's superb that something like YouTube exists. You can watch this match even 20 years from now in some form, and you would be amazed at the quality of tennis. Some of those, and the highlights, it has to be said, the highlights were so good. They showed some of the great shots in there. Amazing. And just to think that just a few years back, French Open used to make these 1 minute highlights. Amazing how the evolution happens. But Nadal on clay in French Open is the closest thing to tennis perfection, as rightly put by this person. Alright, who is your favorite out of the 3? Let me know in the comments. Take care. Bye-bye.